So my name is Joanna Maranhao. I'm a former professional swimmer from Brazil. I represented my countries in 4 editions of the Olympic Games. I have earned 8 Pan American medals. And long story short, I've lived the best and the worst experiences in sport. The same space where I have lived the dreams of becoming an Olympian, I was also systematically sexually abused by my coach. And I see myself today as a survivor, an ally, and an advocate to advance our rights in sports. There's no one single solution or one size fits all to any of the integrity issues within sports and human rights violations within sports. There are so many stuff that play within. There's like sports specific, cultural specific, resources and so on, like gender stereotypes and so on. But one interesting thing about this forum is that we're talking about what we need to talk about, having difficult conversations in a respectful, and like we're embracing critical hope, I would say. And sometimes the dialogue between those who are harmed in sports governing bodies and government is tough, but I feel like this is the right space for us to try to build this conversation and try to co-create solutions. I work for the Sport and Rights Alliance, and I feel like us and the center, we play like similar but different roles. Like the center is this entity that is like building the conversation and doing reports and so on. So it's like engaging sports governing bodies to what we need to advance human rights in sports, and that's extremely important. Whereas us, we kind of do more like the watchdog and call upon them. So a strong Sport and Rights Alliance and a strong Center for Sport and Human Rights is critical for us to advance that. So I see the center as like a collaborator and an ally on this. I loved the flow of the panel, as in like I was talking to someone with lived experience as an advocate, and we had like a lawyer who was also an athlete and someone from an organization that is big as the IOC, recognizing harm and so on. So this is kind of an example of embracing critical hope and moving forward. And I think that was extremely important. We touched upon, because it is a very complex topic, and it was very hard for us like on the meeting prep to kind of wrap that around 1 hour. But I think we touch upon very important topics, which is like acknowledging past harms, acknowledging as a whole sporting ecosystem that we haven't got it right yet, and most importantly, how it is critical to engage people with lived experience to build the legitimacy. Yeah, people who are affected by violence, like they know the truth and the real impact of the harm when it happens and throughout their entire life. So it doesn't mean that they know it all, they have the solution, like do this and then the problem is fixed. However, they're fundamental so that we can find the solution together. And we are diverse. We are just such a diverse group of people, and those pieces that Kat was dealing, and I was playing a small part of it, it was just so good to have these open, safe, and comfortable spaces where people was like pointing to some solutions, and some of them, it felt to me that it didn't work, but it worked on their context. So we hear those multiple voices and we build those documents collectively, and we compensate people for their contributions because they are experts by experience and they should be compensated. And we meaningfully engage, because even though within those pieces we didn't have to necessarily share our experiences, it is somehow related to it, so we can't be triggered by that. So there was a very interesting methodology where all of that was like carefully thought and controlled. So it was literally a safe space for us to build a report on solutions towards the problem that we didn't choose to experience. Well, I do what I do, and I started doing back in 2008, like advocating to lift the statutes of limitations in my country, because I didn't have justice when I was finally ready to talk about my story. And I was just 21, and the legislation was not there for me. And I just realized, like, maybe if I work towards providing justice and solutions to other people, that's gonna be my healing journey. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I work in those spaces. And that's a very personal response, but that helps me. Sometimes it's super hard to go to those meetings and those panels because I'm more fragile or more triggered, but in the end, it always helps me to get stronger and like be loyal to the 9-year-old girl who went through something horrible.